In 2025, Kazutaka Kodaka made a game that takes 100 hours to beat, and with that much writing, there was a chance it would bankrupt his company. So over time, he would tweet out many times, telling people to buy it. It's a good game. Please try it out. Otherwise, he won't make games anymore. And eventually, he got through to enough people that he was able to then say the game was selling well. The game is a masterpiece in people's eyes. Thank you, he said. It was quite a strange journey. Anyway, that's not why we're here. Unless you actually did want me to talk about a 3DS Shin Megami Tensei game. Really? But I thought, did I misread the room again? From your text you said, look, the point is, I know you'll love hearing about this franchise instead. You perform surgeries and talk to patients and also defuse bombs. Why the heck are they naked? Yes, it's a Trauma Center series, games by Atlus from the Persona team. No, really, this game's director made this.
What's up with these little freaks?
Yep, medical games where you save people's lives by using Nintendo's motion gimmicks. Yeah, in the age of Nintendo and their motion control games, you had all sorts of jobs that you, the gamer, at home, could pretend to be employed as a fisherman, a smart guy, a comedian.
I'm not wearing anything down there.
Yeah, with motion controllers in the 2000s, you had all these third-party companies loving the trend of making games for those consoles. You know, surgery. Yep, with Trauma Center, Life Science. What? Did you think Trauma Center was the first one?
Wrong!
You had Kenshui Tendo Dokata, released in 2004 on the DS, which then its sequel called Life Science by Spike Chunsoft was ported over to the West, and it probably was the inspiration for Atlus to make their own one, because you can see the signs. Life Signs. Where this game has touch controls to perform the surgery, but it also has... Why is there so much talking? When are they gonna get to the surgery? And yet, it was so innovating because it had exploring, diagnoses, persuasion. Hey, why not you again? And then the surgery, following steps to save people with the DS stylus. And like, you have bad endings? I mean, I know in real life surgery you have that too, but I don't want my DS game telling me that. And I can't outright confirm it because I'm lazy. But Trauma Center released afterwards, so they probably saw all this and were like, yeah, what if we do that, but the surgery part, but just a little bit of different things
No!
Help!
That man's on fire.
Very funny.
Look, you know, all medical media needs some non-medical things to help spice up the drama. So the Trauma Center franchise has a few games, all releasing on Nintendo's motion control consoles that sold over 20 units. And in this video, I'll go through them all, but I'll pick one to review entirely. Now, which one of you has the funniest sprite? Well, that was easy. But Trauma Center started way back, where Atlus and the Persona people, before Persona was even a thing on the Xbox, wanted to make a surgery simulation game. Yet no hardware could do it. Oh my god, the DS now exists! So yep, in 2004 they worked on it. The S&T staff who, you know, were used to making RPGs had to now make you roleplay as someone who cuts up bodies. They drew inspiration from Western shows like ER and Chicago Hope. It was written by Shogo Isogai, who has the hardest picture for a game dev, and he was told to add in sci-fi elements. Oh, so I don't have these things in my body. Just cholesterol, which is why it's not a total accurate portrayal, but allows the gameplay to feel more fun. Like, you're not just saving people from tumors, you're fighting evil organizations who are doing biomedical warfare. So in 2005, it was brought west by Atlus USA, who turned this place into Los Angeles. And as someone who's never been, yeah, I could totally believe that's LA. I mean, they even changed the protagonist's name to Derek Styles, a reference to the DS stylus. And it's kind of amusing because this game utterly bombed in Japan, yet in the West, it was off the charts. While Atlus in Japan was experiencing losses and job cuts, this game's Western success helped them turn a profit. I guess in 2000s, games on that new motion control device and touch controls was so easy to print money when media back then also loved drama medical shows. The amount of times I would see Grey's Anatomy on TV as a kid and think, who the heck is Grey? And why is there no anatomy? This is just adults talking! But yes, it was such a unique game while also not being gory or too real, allowing a fun look at surgery, which is then, oh yeah, it became a franchise. While the Persona team went on to, make RPGs that were popular with certain fans, people who like calendars, a small team at Atlus were told to continue this franchise known as the Caduce team. And what did they do first? They remade the entire game for the Wii. Look, it was needed. Have you seen how Derek looks now? Oh, he went to medical school. And yep, you better believe it, this game also added in new content and a new female character. In 2006, Atlus just couldn't help themselves. They keep doing this. So Trauma Center's Second Opinion was the launch title for the Wii in Japan and North America in 2006, updating the visuals with Derek. Shame they couldn't update my used copy of the game. Why does EB Games do this? It looks like a 4-year-old drew on it. And what, rated M? Surely it can't be that bad. Look, on the Wii in 2006, it honestly just felt like, now it's not scary. Oh yeah, what about this? So Derek is a surgeon who will save the world with his healing touch. Which is the anime power he can focus to slow down time to perform the surgeries. As the game's flow has you usually meeting someone suffering some problem, open them up and use motion controls to fix them. While the new character Naomi is more of a spy. More high stakes where she's getting chased by the paparazzi, they crash out so she has to perform surgery on them in the dark. While Derek works at... Oh no! Actually, the real tragedy is that there's a spelling mistake. I'm sure they'll fix this later. And your assistant is Mary Fulton, where the first case, you gotta remove glass from a patient, where you use the nunchuck to pick the tool, and then the Wii remote to pull the pieces out, and then you stitch them back up. And yay! Job well done! Very well done. Bit of a office romance, huh? I could get used to that. Wait, you're leaving? No, I wasn't flirting, don't leave me! Mary, oh Mary. Look, do you know how expensive ink cartridges are? I literally cannot afford to do this joke now. So Angie Thompson is a new assistant and kinda hates your guts because, yeah, I agree, Derek is a terrible protagonist at the start. He comes to work late, doesn't care for his patients. Come on, try and stay positive. You're gonna be fine, really. Yeah, whatever. Why didn't you just tell him everything would be fine? Was she even listening? Operating on patients requires the most care and...
Whoops, my finger slipped.
However, a patient almost dies due to Derek's carelessness, and Angie legit throws us under the bus for it. But Derek starts to change and becomes a more likable guy. When you got fast-paced medical gameplay, as it cycles through the set procedures using the motion controls, like pulling glass out, cutting open the body to get to the organs, lasers, cutting out tumors with the bowel procedure, which involves ultrasounding the tumor, cutting it out, draining the area, placing a gauze, and whacking on some magic gel on top, sure to cure any disease. Then you got twisting bones back into place, draining blood, stitching up cuts, and whacking more of that super magic gel. I guess the green stuff here is good because you can also inject that thing to increase the patient's health as it will slowly drop over time. And you have no limit to how much you can use this magic healing stuff. Wow. This says a lot about America's drug problem. So yeah, the only way to lose is when the health runs out or the timer is up. So if you have anxiety, this is not the game for you. Because with stress, did you know the heart can go into cardiac arrest? Oh god, we gotta save him! Using a defib with the Wii remote and nunchuck to push in. Oh man, I'm trying every variation possible. Nope, turns out you gotta hold it like this and slowly move them forward. Like, come on, isn't this a more natural way how you see the defib used in the movies? But then to make the game more, I don't know. Derek has a superpower where you can slow down time with the healing touch, where you first draw a star with the Wii remote to then slow down time, allowing you to handle all that crazy medical action. So yeah, this continues for a while till the game ups the ante with medical terrorism, where a man-made disease called guilt,
a dubious little creature,
that are viruses that troll you in the gameplay, so we gotta get rid of them. And you meet more people. Hey man, I gotta tell you something. I've been practicing euthanasia ever since I graduated. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed this game. The crazy stuff stands out in your mind, like the time Derek at a conference has to defuse a bomb. But it's so difficult, you gotta slowly wipe out the flashing ones. But if you hit the core with the laser, you'll die, and then you'll have to restart the whole thing, and you cannot skip any of the text. Let's just say a certain gamer who made a YouTube review of this in 2017 couldn't beat this level back then, but I did it now because I'm a Chad. And yet I'm still single. We have things like the triangles of doom. Don't ask me how this works. I don't even know how I beat it. Was that the Danganronpa sound effect?
That's it, I'm out of here.
So now that you understand what Trauma Center is all about, I mean the audiences sure did, because Atlus in the next year they made another Wii game, New Blood, which due to the Western success of the previous game, Atlus in Japan consulted Atlus USA, who gave them 2 suggestions as the team wanted to appeal to newcomers, and not be a sequel with Derek, it wanted to have brand new people. So they suggested it should have a male and female protagonist, where the other female characters should also not be in inferior positions of power to the male counterparts, and that one protagonist should be dark skinned. It's kind of interesting to see a Japanese game all the way back in 2006 consult the Western team, and because it's not a remake, this time on the Wii, we can finally have white surgery! Also voice acting.
There's been an accident at the construction site.
A man has fallen into the river.
And straight away you start out in Alaska with 2 doctors, Valerie and Marcus. Don't worry, the game also takes you all over the country like Maryland. And you get to pick either of them for the mission, but it doesn't change much as both characters will talk in the surgery, yet they are way more professional. Derek, my boy, your hair is falling on the patient. Don't let it fall onto the open heart wound. Oh no. Now you created Bigfoot!
Hello.
Also, the game has co-op! Finally, I have something to play with you! You will be single forever. And the game also has leaderboards where you can compare the scores to other people online. So the game plays voice dialogue and cutscenes, you'll learn about the injury, and then you see this blob that you have to treat. So the nunchuck has all your tools. You got the numbing gel you use before you make the cuts with the scalpel, and you got tweezers to pick things up, injections to inject things onto spots, lasers to remove boils, you got sutures to stitch up cuts, drains that suck up all the fluid, ultrasound to find things deep inside, and you got to use your Wii remote to control all of these tools. I will say the game can get hard, especially on higher difficulties, as you gotta be so precise.
Located in the small intestine. Good luck.
I did end up finding a strat to help out that I'll tell you later on, but yeah, this is not one of those relaxed kind of games. You really gotta lock in as they have a timer, which is an instant game over. Or if the health drops, which is then when you gotta inject this green goo to keep healing their health back up, which takes up time. The game also tries to keep it fresh where every chapter has you not dealing with the exact same scenario. Now then, I have to address the elephant in the room. Oh, thank God he's not here. But yes, this game has a yellow filter on it. I don't know why. It was released in that PS3 piss era. Maybe they also thought this is what Americans like in their video games. But yeah, the art was drawn by the SMT artist Doi. Thankfully not the other SMT artist Kaneko, who I hear is doing great things now. This is horrendous. Why would they do this? Is that Elsa? So our first patient...
Hurry, Val! The patient's a 40-year-old male. He has a gash on his chest and he's losing blood fast.
How was he injured?
He ignored the tour guide's warning and picked a fight with a grizzly. His blood pressure's 70, his heart rate's 130, and he's the grizzly.
And here I thought I was gonna be able to kick back and enjoy the northern lights every night.
Oh, quit your whining. Doctor, the patient's vitals are dropping.
All right, let's get down to business. I have dinner reservations.
Man, imagine being the patient and you're hearing the surgeon say things like this.
I have dinner reservations.
So Marcy the nurse tells us about the operation, where you then pick the surgeon, which doesn't change anything at all. They play the exact same.
Time is of the essence. Let's get
Oh,
started.
you're a two-finger kind of guy. I don't know what that means. Why did I say that? So we gotta suture his cuts, then inside the arm, manually grab the pieces of the bone to put Humpty back together again. And I don't think it's a first good impression of the minigame because it's probably the worst one, in that you gotta twist the Wii remote in such an angle and then somehow guess which piece fits where, and it doesn't look like they fit there.
Yeah, this is like a jigsaw puzzle.
Once done, you close them up and get your rank, which you get graded on how long you took, how accurate you were, as actions you do get rated bad, okay, or cool. And each mission has their own secret rewards too for doing certain things, and this all gets you grade C, which does nothing. Or maybe when they had online servers you could compete with people online.
He'll need to remain here for about 5 days. Should I send a bill for a guided tour of Montgomery Memorial to his travel agent?
Good idea, but don't serve him anything fancy. We don't want him getting too comfortable.
Hospital humor.
I see that the operation went well.
Did they model that off a real face?
Just let me know if anything comes up. I'll be at Lucky's, enjoying some grilled salmon.
By the way, yes, if you're wondering, Marcus is voiced by Troy Baker, Mr. I Hate Doing Anime Games now. Most of the cast you will probably have heard from Atlus's many other games.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you two work at Memorial Hospital in Alaska, where you got Lucky Salmon, Jake's Coffee, and Irish Nuns.
Cool temperatures can return quite suddenly, so be sure to carry a sweater with you at all times.
So Marcus and Valerie both actually started at Concordia in LA, but Marcus came all the way out here for some reason, and Valerie followed him. Marcus has the healing touch, and Valerie wanted to learn it from him so they can save people quicker. However, Professor Wilkins from Concordia asked Marcus to return, but whatever made him leave, he really does not want to go back. Well, we gotta take care of this guy, and he's like, bro, you ain't a real hospital. But okay, I'll let you operate on me. But let me just call my wife first. I gotta discuss my will, you know, because you might kill me here. Which is such a stark contrast to the previous game where you barely were interacting with the patients at all. And I do all that with the PAL procedure and still get a seat rank. Methinks I'm never gonna be a doctor. Anyway, we get a new patient.
Yes, this is Montgomery Memorial. Please remain calm. Now, can you tell me what happened?
A man was accidentally shot in the chest with a rifle.
Bro, how is America a real place? So this nurse Elena is from Concordia who brings the patient over, but she's no help.
Please extract it with care.
It appears I made it in time.
Yep, every single chapter has a unique fail screen, where technically you don't kill the patient. Someone will jump in going, God, you suck, I'll finish this. But the ending voiceover then says, and with that one failure, the two doctors could never show their faces again because they had such high egos. It's just funny because they probably didn't want to raise the age rating even higher, having you kill patients for doing things wrong. I mean, I'm already feeling bad when the game tells me I'm doing bad. Come on, it's just one operation. The person is fine. Don't quit the whole medical industry because of it. And yes, I was playing this on normal until out of nowhere, this guy decided to have heart attacks. And you gotta do the same, push the controllers in, then press Z and V on the markers. This is so stressful.
Gosh, look at me. I'm sweating like a pig here.
So yeah, easy mode it is. Seriously, this is not a good game for me mentally playing this.
But I didn't come here to spy on you. And I didn't come here to help you. I came here to ask you to operate on me, Dr. Vaughn.
What?
It's the pump unit you implanted in my pancreas 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Elena has intractable pancreatic necrosis, an extremely rare genetic immune system disorder. The disease surfaces due to stress caused by aging, viruses, or chemical substances. If left untreated, it could cause septicemia, cellular necrosis, and a severe case of pancreatitis.
Okay. So with this operation, you gotta fix the pancreas, where you first use the healing touch, and Valerie is like, wow, why did such a talented doctor like yourself move all the way out here where there's bears attacking people? Marcus has some reason that he won't divulge yet, something he regrets. So Valerie then tries to learn the healing touch for herself.
And I awaken to my true self. Oh. It's no use. I can't understand any of this. It says the 5-pointed star is a symbol of life. But when I look at it, it simply reminds me of a piece of okra in a bowl of gumbo.
Okra? Gumbo? Cranberry juice? Stop me anytime, I can keep saying food. So the director of this hospital gets sick and you perform on him, curing his intestinal tumors where he's like, yeah, okay, good work, I'm closing the hospital. So you two should go back to LA. As then that nun gets trapped under the church and Eleanor helps us out as she becomes our nurse for the rest of the game. And all's good and we decide to go back to LA as Professor Wilkins is asking these two to perform a surgery on him.
However, we may have a shortage of world-class doctors.
My daughter and family have offered to look after me, so I'll be going to Seattle.
I knew he was based on Niles from Frasier! And Sia Marcy, a character who doesn't have any more lines outside of Chapter 1, yet she got a full bio in the manual and is the only one on the box art to appear in the surgeon getup. Maybe she had a pimple on photo day. Now, after the big chapter section, you get a bonus stage, which has you redoing all the procedures you just did back to back.
No, I'm not a doctor.
So we return to LA after 3 years and get a frosty reception.
How was Montgomery Memorial?
Well, It was certainly challenging.
I have to admit, I was quite envious when I heard that you were going. I mean, who wouldn't want a chance to get in touch with nature?
Nice guy, huh?
So Wilkins says he has a secret disease in him that he was researching, but don't tell anyone that we will have to operate on him. As we treat someone with infection in their lungs, then we gotta upgrade a pacemaker.
Are you sure it's not gonna hurt?
You'll be fast asleep the entire time. It'll be over before you know it.
But what if I wake up? Will it hurt?
I promise that won't happen. The medicine will keep you asleep, no matter what.
If it's gonna keep me asleep, then how will I wake up? Will I sleep forever?
Yes, you dumb kid, are you the doctor here? But then outside.
I'm not lying. It really hurts. Come on, there must be something you can do.
I'm sorry, but we didn't find anything wrong when we examined you.
That medication I used before seemed to help. How about some more of that?
Oh, okay. So when swapping out the pacemaker, you can't use the defib, and you gotta massage the heart with your hand? That's a thing surgeons do? What, did they give it a spa treatment too? Okay, I very much value all medical workers' efforts. That wasn't a joke at your expense. But come on, you really just stick your hand in and... So this has you suture the ends of the heart, which is something you haven't done before, but thankfully Eleanor will explain all the steps, so you're never having to just remember everything at one go. Like anytime you make a mistake, they'll go, remember you gotta suck up the blood before you can stitch them up, okay? So the director of Caduceus, Irene Quattro, visits, and that's like the famous brand of YouTuber who will never know I exist. But also, it's a research company that looks at crazy new diseases that Derek joined in the first game. So it's sort of linked and will become more apparent later as this is a sequel and takes place after Second Opinion.
By the way, this morning I met someone that was here to see Rousseau. I was surprised when she introduced herself. Take a guess who she was.
His mistress?
Very funny. She seemed more interested in speaking with Professor Wilkins. I wonder how she knows about him. Isn't it strange?
So now you gotta take care of a patient hit by a car and you got bone twisting, and it makes that first impression really much more difficult than this one. The pieces here seem more obvious where they're meant to go as opposed to that mission. No joke though, the game will get more difficult as you go through because you don't ever get the same mission type twice. You're always on your feet, you can never expect what they're gonna throw at you, so you can never just zone out playing this game, which I guess is true if you're a doctor in an operating room. It kind of makes it hard because the game's story for the most part is actually pretty chill. There's no wacky anime type character personality, they all feel very real. So you can just kind of zone out pretending you're watching a medical TV show, but then BAM! Heart massage time! And so you save the guy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor.
And Russo here takes credit for our surgery. But I don't care.
I'm just glad the patient's okay.
Wow. Boost. So Wilkins will finally tell us what we are treating inside of him.
What I am asking you all to do is treat an unknown, yes, the unknown.
An unknown?
And so inside you see these little gremlins who are called stigma, a new disease, which seem to be actively attacking the body. This is what Wilkins was researching and it must have gotten into him accidentally. So it keeps cutting and you gotta use lasers on them and then it'll split into two, and if that's not enough...
They fuse together?
And what? I got an A rank? Surgery employment is back on the menu!
I must say, this Sigma is certainly intriguing.
Oh, stop. You're making me blush. So Russo is like, I recorded the surgery to study it, but Wilkins gets mad, thinking he's stealing his research, as we learn about the law.
A deadly man-made infectious disease spread throughout the world. It was known as guilt.
Yep, that illness that Derek stopped in the previous game, this game is set after that in the same world. But the medication used on guilt doesn't work on stigma. But then...
Oh no! Help!
Fire!
As a fire broke out in Wilkins' lab, where Russo seemingly got into a fight with him, I think to steal his research, and you gotta save the burning Russo by grafting skin from the right side of his body onto the left. Bro really has an unlimited amount of free skin to use. It is annoying because you can only place the grafts when there's no blood on the spot, so every time I place them one by one, blood pools and stops them sticking. This fast-paced nature is kind of why you really should be using the healing touch once a mission, as you only get one time to use it and it helps you slow down time. So for a lot of these missions you will need to use it. Like, I don't think you can get through this game just being a normal non-anime powered doctor. There is a point later on where you have to use it, so you might as well practice early on as you're gonna draw the star on the fly. As now the director of Kadikarus comes over saying they transferred us to their hospital to help study stigma. Willingly?
By the authority of the federal government, I hereby order your immediate transfer to Caduceus.
No, I don't want to go. And so,
Maryland, on the Atlantic coast of the United States of America.
Which is our new office. Why does it feel so retro? Where we'll be studying stigma, but you'll also be doing some normal surgeries here and there. Don't think they're gonna let you forget how you do the PAL procedure. You also have other characters now, Dr. Everett and Dr. Suji.
Oh, pardon me. I'm Kanae Tsuji. Kanae.
You're absolutely Kanae.
With new
You
nurses.
assisted in an operation on your first day here? You must be good.
Goth medical workers. They really just reused ideas from this game. So Dr. Everett needs surgery.
I just need help. I can walk you through the procedure if necessary. I'll even suture myself when it's over.
And it's gallstones where you gotta cut them out, and it's a 1-minute mission. Yeah, the levels don't take long if you can do them right, so a lot of this game is actually in the fully voiced cutscenes.
Wet beep.
You always see the positive, Val.
As we meet Dr. Cromwell, who is... that accent.
Dr. Blaylock and Dr. Vaughn, I presume.
He develops new tech where we also meet people from Humani, a pharmaceutical company that tries to win favor with us.
Well, if there's anything I can do for you, just let me know.
It's almost working, but Marcus is immune to non-block.
Yes, Dr. Cromwell?
And Cynthia here went to medical school with Valerie.
Valerie? Valerie Blaylock?
Yeah, it's me.
And she's developed a new patch for the heart where you just
Doctor, the
put it
patient. Doctor, blood. The doctor.
Gotta
The patient.
stop
Doctor.
with
The
heart
patient's under the
attacks.
use the.
You can actually stop the heart doing heart attacks by letting them die. But when you hear the beeps, if you stop working, the heart will calm down. It's a way to try and stop you from just going non-stop with the surgery.
I think we'll see excellent results, Valerie.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing more operations like this one.
Ah, piss off. So we see another patient who has artificial blood transplanted into them, and this actually causes stigma to grow. A new variant which hovers around and you're gonna suck them up and then laser the core a few times. Oh man, we got even more stigma cases now. This job ain't stopping.
Just give me a strong cup of joe and I'll crank it out.
Please be extra careful when performing this operation.
What? This isn't brain surgery.
This is brain surgery.
Yeah, not the torso. You also gotta work on the brain too. And then you got more takes on the USA healthcare system. Look, I ain't American. I ain't been there. All I know is from what The Simpsons teaches me about it, where one guy wants to treat his son, but he can't afford the surgery.
Well, the family doesn't have health insurance, so at least $10,000.
However, this trust fund kid is sad that his appendix surgery isn't as expensive as his rich friends, so he wants to brag about it. So Valerie says, how about making a 10K donation, and she will use that to pay for the other kid's surgery. And it's then funny because you do both of them back to back, where one of the kids has a mild case of it and the other one is severe, but you go for the mild case first, and then it's like...
This is bad. The appendix is festering. Very lucky. If he'd waited any longer for surgery, he may not have pulled through.
See, we should have done the severe one first. Look at my A rank. Listen to me. I'm a surgeon here.
I think we've all learned something from this operation.
Yeah, treat the severe cases first. And then we get the most real episode of them all. Their dating life. Yeah, to make it feel more like a medical drama, it's vacation time. Valerie talks about Cynthia's boyfriend Ray before mentioning her college ex who wants her to visit, but she doesn't want to go alone, so she drags Marcus and Elena on the car trip. And it's nice. But I kind of wish it was more fleshed out. I mean, I know the game is about surgery, and I do appreciate they're giving these characters more realism than second opinion, but I wish there was more. I mean, I memed on Live Science having endless talking, but after the start of this game, I could see them adding these slice of life things to help build up the characters. You know, they could have shown them at the ex's house, the awkwardness over dinner, instead of them just now cutting back to them in the car on the return trip. But yes, don't worry, this mission was important because of one line of dialogue, and you probably missed it, but I'm not going to tell you till it's later on, okay? So you gotta pay attention. As we see a police car crash and perform the surgery right on the highway. I guess civilians seeing two people cut open a guy on the highway is a normal thing in Maryland. And then you get a segment where it's surreal. It's a medical game show where this guy will perform surgeries for free as long as you let him televise it.
We'll introduce today's patient following the commercial break.
Will that guy ever shut up?
And he outwardly calls Caduceus, saying the money that we get from the government to study the future of medicine should instead be used in the present to help people right now. So challenges us to a surgery off, making this now a competition. Oh, come on, man. You can't turn surgery into a race. And you actually lose, where you then see how that guy won. Oh, bro, he's got the healing touch too! So after running back with our tails between our legs, Caddy gets a letter from the villain saying now they will reveal stigma to the world. Well, on the show, a patient has it and that surgeon cannot save them with their skills. So we gotta jump in since we're the only surgeons in the world who have handled stigma before. And then Valerie tells it like it is on national TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was gonna go get some coffee at Jake's.
And so the Humani CEO is like, wow, great speech. I make a lot of medical implants, you know. That's such a great speech. Hey, wanna watch a hockey game with me with box seats?
Nice check. We have to get back on the offensive. We can't let them dominate the park.
This really is a hockey game. And we gotta save their star player from their injuries. As we learned from Cromwell that this ingredient, colurium, is what's used in the medical tech at Humani, including artificial blood. And it's how stigma is growing. It's evolving from man-made medical implants put into humans and growing from that. And so we gotta save Suji's cousin's liver.
I can't believe my stupid cousin.
It's all right, Kanai.
I'm Kanai.
Which is so amusing because if you miss one step, you actually just get lost and like the game doesn't realize you're in trouble. And then you really don't know what to do.
So much hemorrhaging.
The area's hemorrhaging again.
It's hemorrhaging again. Drain it and...
So you gotta be paying attention. Turns out there was hidden ultrasound stuff underneath causing the bleeding that I had to fix up first. Then I could suck up the blood and it would be fine. So thanks to that, Suji invites us for dinner, but it's that guy from before who kidnaps us three, taking us to this hideout where we see...
So nap time's over, huh?
What? Too ugly to show your face?
Yep, this is such a tonal shift, which is an indicator in Trauma Center games that you're getting to the end game. You know, we need a villain in the story, as these guys want us to operate on people with stigma to help their research to put stigma into more people.
But I should thank you. Because of you, I can buy myself a new car.
I hope you drive yourself off a cliff.
And so this stigma has 4 eyes and hides where you gotta scan it and then inject it with purple goo, and it makes clones, which took me for the longest time to realize I gotta look at the number of eyes to find the real one.
So, doctors, how are you doing?
Couldn't be better, thanks.
As we meet the boss Kidman and this mysterious guy who Marcus truly thinks is Wilkins, who did I mention he was missing after the fire? I should have mentioned that. As Marcus reveals to us that he actually created stigma accidentally. While researching on rats, he caused it to spawn. So that's why he ran away from LA to hide from the guilt of it. As now this boss is like, okay, I want you to test on human subjects. If you don't, I will kill you. But we are good doctors, so say, no you, and they try to kill us. And so they lock us up and the water is rising, but they use this interesting lock, and you have to solve it to escape.
Yeah, right.
Well, it ain't no defusing a bomb. Just connect the pathways, but it is kind of annoying with twisting the Wii remote. So we escape, and then we see how US politicians are talking about stigma, and one country where the colurium was found has an outbreak of it. So we get sent there to deal with it, and as a welcome gift by their president, they give us a free dog. Oh, what a cute gift! And so this girl wants to be a doctor and acts as our interpreter here, as we got new stigma cases, which is my least favorite of the bunch, where you got to inject the limbs and then pluck the ends off. But if the light here reaches any of those ends, they will all respawn. And I didn't realize you had to use the tweezer to pinch those nodes shut to delay the light moving. It was really a long, tiring process. And so you find the mine with colurium, but there's a civil war. We're fighting against the military and...
We're under attack! Return fire! We don't see them anywhere!
PETA tried to protect us and...
Why would you do that? And yep, you gotta save the dog. But it's so funny if you lose, the end screen is like, bro, why are you doing the surgery? Let the vet save the dog. Yeah, okay, sure, it's not my field, you do it. So this is where the difficulty really ramps up, as you gotta now save casualties in the fights back to back. Lots of different challenges, and if you fail at any point, you gotta do them all over again. This really wears out on your arm, but I found a strategy where usually you're playing Wii games like this, you hold it out, you know, sitting down, you're holding your Wii remote out in front of you, not balancing it. But the lazy approach is where you lean your arm on the headrest of your chair. You know, you get a pivot point for your arm, at least for me, it gave me way more control. Maybe it only worked for me because my chair height was the right height for this. But yeah, this game gets so tiring if you play it holding your arms out doing all these surgeries back to back. And so we find who gave the people weapons, and it's the masked guys, where two of them are now needing liver transplants as Kidman dies. So we gotta split up his liver into both of them.
Then let's split up Kidman's liver between the two of them.
We're performing a liver transplant? Here?
Girl, haven't you been keeping up? This is baby stuff for this franchise. This was slightly tough as you gotta swap the liver out and connect the tubes while dealing with stigma, so you gotta top up the patient's health every once in a while, and you gotta do both surgeries back to back again. And yeah, even though I managed to get it on the final stigma, I literally just ran out of time. It was stressful. So yeah, using the healing touch really does help. So now to find out more on Kidman's family, where we talk to the mum, I think. It's not really state she's the mum, but she seems to know where the headquarters are, and will only tell us where if we perform surgery on her. Jeez, I guess that's what people want for gifts these days, huh? And just to make things more difficult,
Kill the lights, continue the operation.
so we go to the hideout, and we also learn that Cynthia quit Humani for some reason, but no one can find out where she's gone. Yet at this hideout, we have to save multiple people with stigma, which really took me half an hour to complete. They really don't give you any break. My shoulder was killing me. I swear, man, I need my own surgery after this. Oh, that's it. This game makes you require surgery to fund more surgeons. It was an inside job all along. And so you find Wilkins, who seems to not remember who he is. And you find out that the evil guy has implanted a chip into his brain so he would turn to their side, helping them with stigma, the chip affecting his personality. So we do another brain surgery, which is more mini game, removing these chips without touching the light, then pulling out these pins when the light is off, which is really hard to do vertically on a Wii remote without touching the sides. But finally, Wilkins is back to his old grumpy self, as we find the big evil guy is Master Vahushti, real name Ray. Yes, the boyfriend of Cynthia. That was revealed in one line all the way back then. Yep, that dating arc was to reveal that. He owned that company that helped make all those implants, you know, with the CEO's the hockey guy, but he says, oh, I don't know anything. So Ray was using that as a way to birth stigma into people's minds and hearts. You know, in a more in-depth game with an in-depth story and more things to say, that could have been like a metaphor or something. But then out of nowhere...
Hello, everyone. I'd like to take a moment to update you on the current status of Cock.
Yo, he's back! And he hasn't learned how to shave! Yeah, you're from Japan? I'm sorry, I thought you were from Los Angeles from the previous game. Translation continuity errors. So both he and Angie have a cameo where they help out in dialogue, not in gameplay. It's just more for you to go, oh, I remember them. So we find Cynthia and that Ray put a chip in her heart that he could kill her remotely, so we gotta open her up to save her, and then we head to his lair.
This is Vahushti's room? It's very quiet.
Vahushti, where are you?
Who disturbs the serenity of my laboratory?
They really just reuse these things between the Persona games, okay. So he has the full I'll save the world thing with my stigma, as he was a doctor in Russia, but the government hated him. So he thought, oh, what's the point of saving lives, and just went full evil. So now there's a new crazy form of stigma inside him, and so Marcus sleep injects him to cure the stigma out of his body and get rid of it from the world. And man, I almost got it first go. Where this bugger's walking around, you know, not caring the world, and you gotta gel these squares, cut them up, and pick them up with the tweezers when the bug isn't walking over them. If it though walks into a red square, you lose your total maximum health, which you cannot get back no matter what, which is very bad for the second phase. Yet on my first attempt, I didn't lose any. And so on the second phase, with this Vatican-esque music, I lasered it while suturing all the cuts and picking up these things so they didn't get hit in the radial blast causing damage. But then I stupidly used up my healing touch early on. Remember, you only get one time to use it per mission, because then the stigma, it does this.
There's so many.
I'm putting an end to this. The vitals.
You were meant to use it here. So I tried 2 more times and I got it. And it actually was a pretty fun boss. I'm glad it wasn't a reuse of another Stigma fight, as you now cure Stigma, which was controlling his brain, keeping him alive from his other disease. So now he has no Stigma, he dies, but we saved the world. Marcus got to redeem himself for creating that virus, and Valerie helped save a friend, and Eleanor, she's just so happy. Where the epilogue, there's nothing really of note. It's just 3 promising to keep working together as the credits roll. And now you unlock Extreme Mode.
That's it, I'm out of here.
New Blood was an interesting game that it took what it learned from the previous Wii port of Derek's game and fleshed it out, making the characters and world feel more real, while keeping the same sci-fi zaniness, also in a yearly schedule to keep up the sales and the craziness of the Wii's marketing. I do feel it was a bit too real. In that second opinion, sort of feel like an absurd fever dream. You suddenly have this doctor who's arrogant. In the next chapter, he almost kills a guy. And then, okay, now he's good. And then, okay, medical warfare. Then now, defusing a bomb with no hours of dialogue cutscenes in between these scenes. It really just felt like they were making it up on the fly, and there was some charm to that. But this game at least plays so much better, because I found this one much more easier than Second Opinion. With gameplay that, if you can at least do fine motion controls on a Nintendo Wii, it's pretty fun and challenging. People actually call this the hardest game of the franchise, and yeah. But have you actually tried that bomb defusal from the first game? And with a more Western-focused game, it sold 300,000 copies in North America alone? What the hell? I mean, I know this wasn't the peak Wii motion gameplay slop years, but okay, I can see why then. This was a big franchise. In the next year, they would improve upon the gameplay with the next yearly release with updates to the gameplay and graphics. What the heck? That ain't the Wii! Yep, even though it's a yearly franchise now, we got Under the Knife 2 on the DS, a sequel to the first DS game, but using the Wii's remake designs, which is funny if you just avoided the Wii games and you were just playing Trauma Center on the DS and you're like, oh, okay, there's a sequel, and you're like, what the heck? Why does Derek look like this now? This game was actually a response to perceived player discomfort about the change in consoles from DS to the Wii. People were complaining about not using the stylus anymore, as you have Derek and Angie going to Africa to help out during a civil war with new side characters, while then later going back home to deal with more guilt. I think they left the kettle on back home. And okay, you may think they improved and changed the procedures. It's the exact same. Like, sure, you don't have the nunchuck to grab the tools, you got the touchscreen now, but the actual procedures are the same. And when I mean same, I mean exact same. Like here, you gotta find the right bone pieces to twist. Oh wait, wasn't that in New Blood? I had this person got shot and half the bullet is missing inside the wound. The exact same surgery you just did in New Blood. But you also got new puzzles like amino acids, chemistry. No, I failed that in high school. It's the most fun minigame in the entire game. You mean I failed for nothing? But yeah, it's the same art style as before, just crispier. And also... amazing! Oh my goodness, is that the meme music? Yep, everyone has heard this song. It's from this game. But yeah, the voice acting is now gone. It's back to single phrases. Jeez. But weirdly, the patients are now more flesh-colored and not blue, making it a bit more scary. Oh wait, what's that? Hey, hang on. Isn't that the receptionist from the TV show Ugly Betty? Wait, for real? Man, there's so much more story in this game where you're just reading and reading. However, it does feel like a sequel, meaning you're meeting old characters like Mary. But you'll still get weird missions like opening safe room doors, similar to the earlier bomb defusal. Oh, that bomb defusal was the worst patient of my life. So yeah, it does feel like a longer game with the story, but the gameplay is the exact same as New Blood, just with a different control scheme. I mean, this was developed by a different studio under supervision of Atlas, so they were just like, what if we just, take your homework and just copy it a bit? But don't worry, Atlas gets one more shot on the Wii with Trauma Team. Huh, wait, we can have more than 2 servers? surgeons. So yeah, it took a year break, and Trauma Team came out a year after in 2010. And as shown before, I do have physical copies of the Wii games, but for this one, I could not find one, as the Wii is actually region locked, so I can't play the American one. And then I thought, oh, okay, maybe it's on the eShop. But nope, this game in Under the Knife 2 never came to Europe and Australia. And also Nintendo hates the eShop now. So to play this, I had to use other methods. And trust me, I don't want to do this. I also lost that thing I brought for a previous video to use Wii remotes on PC, and you know me, downloading things illegally online, who would do that? Also, it gives you this weird side effect, like it just puts files onto my computer?
Top 10 funniest 109 moments. Number 10.
Please go ahead and just use your mouth.
Whoa, hey, it's spoiling a modern video game. What? So yep, we are full Atlas now with more anime presentation. And the gimmick is that you got 6 characters to choose from, 6 storylines that actually weave into each other in a non-linear timeline. Alright, well, let's try out Tomoe, and right away you notice voice acting and bathing. And it's got comic book style cutscenes where you cannot read ahead, so you're just stuck reading this.
Hanzo, please make the preparations for the operation.
Certainly, my lady.
Bro, what the heck? She made her own endoscope? So to use it with the motion controls, you gotta move the Wii remote forward. Yeah! Look, all I'm trying to do is order Pizza Hut. Come on, give me that SpongeBob yellow sauce! So I tried this for ages to emulate the motion in my mouse, but it just was not working. Even downloading the script, it just removed all my bindings. Sorry, kid. Guess the Wii remote will be stuck inside forever. Luckily, you get other characters, so I picked this guy with a robot helper, with banter.
Ugh, great. What am I supposed to do with this thing?
Condition identified. Deep sighing. Recommend ingestion of beta blockers or tranquilizers.
But the gameplay is finally new with diagnosis, where a patient will talk about their problems and you gotta interrogate their statements, analyze them for more problems, blood report, MRI, CT scans, and then cross-reference all those with what condition it could be. It's way more relaxing since there's no time limit, just a live system.
Roni, can you record the patient's symptom?
Yes, doctor. Congratulations, you received the symptom. Dyspnea.
Make it sound like we're playing a video game or something.
And there's so much more motion control gimmicks, as you can hear the heartbeat through the Wii remote speaker.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
But if you die, you gotta redo it all the way from the beginning. Can't skip anything. It's like 4 games in, and they still haven't learned how to do a proper checkpoint system.
I just got word from Tomoe. Joshua's operation went well.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And now you got Naomi, the only reoccurring character, you know, from the first game's remake. Now a crime scene investigator. Wait, what are we meant to be, surgeons? Or it's now like an Ace Attorney game. You gotta work through clues, even combining them like in the spin-off Ace Attorney games. You even gotta do the autopsy yourself. Then you got this big guy whose job is a superhero, but he's also a surgeon. There's no time limit, and it was so easy using the mouse. I knew Harvard Medical School was worth it. It's also cool you get special dialogue based on your rank.
Looks like it went a little quicker than we expected.
Then this character who was jailed for 250 years, okay, sure. But if he does surgery now, they will lower his sentence by 1 day. Oh sure, let the serial killer free, use the scalpel! And his gameplay is the exact same as the previous games, so I think you're meant to try out his story first. Then finally, this character who does emergency surgeries, like people who are caught up in a fire, and you gotta rush swapping between patients on the fly, and her introduction...
Maria Torres here. Oh, hey Chief.
Bro, what is with all these shower references? But yeah, I couldn't do more of hers because the gyroscope wouldn't work. So, okay, it's kind of weird how this game just pretty much ignores all the previous one's lore and characters and adds so much gameplay that I don't think surgeons would even do. You had 3 games that built upon this established branch of Caduceus fighting medical weapons with relatable characters, but now you got superheroes? They said that this was due to apparent players feeling fatigued by the surgery gameplay. Yeah, they keep bringing this up. Apparent players? They're just imagining these people? You did this for 2 games, changing it up, going, the apparent people are unhappy with the DS gameplay turning into Wii gameplay, so we changed it. Oh, people are unhappy with Caduceus, so we removed remove them. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe you want to change things up, but you could have still done the same gameplay. I mean, yeah, I think people would have still liked it. You know, just new characters. You could have set this in the future again with a new cast and have it be more relatable. In fact, those forensic segments were actually suggested by Atlas USA due to how popular crime scene drama shows were in the US at the time. And Atlas Japan removed features like the healing touch to make the game feel more real. Yeah. Superheroes. I mean, in its first year in Japan, it didn't even sell 60% of its stock, which could be due to the sudden shift in vibe from the previous games, but also could be due to the Wii hype was slowly dying down. People weren't wanting to play motion control games, and I guess it just spiraled out to where we now haven't got any more games in the franchise. I mean, if the devs thought players were bored of the surging gameplay apparently, and they thought this game was a culmination of all their experience and all the Trauma Center games, I don't think they possibly could have done any more in the series. Like, they feel they're all out of ideas, they put their all into this game. And with the consoles that now don't help aid that motion gameplay, I can see why the series has been dormant ever since. But man, they were going all out for this game, as they actually made a live-action TV pilot, an hour-long medical drama 13-episode show starring medical students who perform illegal surgeries for patients who can't afford it. Vigilante surgery. Its pilot did not get approved for full production.
Stop talking, right?
Gee, I wonder why. And thus ends the short-lived Trauma Center series. Yep, over 10 years later, we haven't got anything. From a series with almost a yearly release, somehow finding new motion control ways to do surgery, they just stopped it when I guess motion controls were not what people wanted. I mean, the Wii U could have had at least one game with the tablet gimmick? Well, I guess my favorite of the series would have to be Second Opinion, which I just feel so nostalgic for, with that low-budget charm, had a lot of heart and no real big stakes. It felt like they were just making it up on the fly. But I also do like New Blood, which greatly improved upon it with voice acting and actual characters I started to like. I mean, the whole franchise has great art style across the board. You have more different character designs than you usually would see in Atlas's games, and the music is top tier across all of them. I mean, one of them even reached peak meme status. The story isn't going to win any awards. A lot of things feel like they just happened for the sake of it, but it did what it needed to do, to make you feel like a surgeon. You know, flavored dialogue to surround those gameplay scenarios they thought of. Well, I guess unless we get more motion control consoles, we're not going to see any of these unique style of games anytime soon. I mean, Atlas could port them to the new Nintendo Switch. You know, you have a pointer mouse control, or, you know, VR, because, I mean, when VR was peak, this could have been a really popular, crazy thing. You know, a game that has this anime aesthetic of Atlas's style with the music and art. I haven't really looked into this, but you don't seem to see that many VR games with that art style, apart from ones that...
Well, maybe it was for the best.
And hopefully this video finally does 2017 me justice reviewing it back then with such hopes and dreams.
So young and happy. Where do the years go?
As I got older, I found these older characters on these games more charming and enjoyable. Listening to them experience their job while it has that Atlas flair, you know, the same style of voice acting, the art style and music, it's kind of something I would wish they would reattempt, even if it wasn't medical, but I don't know, with, you know, an RPG in this universe, if they know that's what they're good with. You know, bring the franchise back, but have you do something different with the gameplay. It doesn't need to be motion controls. As if they ported this to the Switch, I don't think the current landscape of gamers would have bought motion control heavy games now. I know it, you know it, we're all so lazy these days, we don't want to move our arms. But I'm glad I personally got to beat one of these games all these years later to finally say, yes, I'm a surgeon now. And that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this look at the most unique of motion control franchises. And hey, if you liked it, why not click the like button, hit subscribe to see more videos from me and all sorts of games I'm interested in. You can also find my social media in the description. And until then, I shall see you all in the next video.